Hey everybody, and welcome to Jack's Treasures on Whatnot.
Hey everybody! It is Monday.
It is Monday.
This is our ongoing series of questions and answers that people ask us, or we ask them, or we just make it up. Okay.
Today, we actually have a question from one of our viewers, and I think Brian will immediately know who the viewer is as soon as I start reading it. But I decided I'm going to put him on the spot today, and we're going to have a topic that he has no idea what we're going to talk about.
I have none. None.
So I thought that would be super fun. It is storage unit related, so let's get started. Tracy and Brian. Has there been a time when y'all got into the groove with bidding on a unit?
Betty, you are amazing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Got into the groove with bidding on a unit and kept bidding just to prove to the other person bidding that you were going to get it. I know it's easy to get into a groove like that on Whatnot when someone bids against you, so you swipe and swipe again to show them you would get it. Regardless, love Cajun Queen 2011.
Betty, you are amazing. And yes, I'm going to get your name correct. Has there any been a time? Yes, there has been a lot of times that we have been bidding on storage units. What you call that is called marrying the unit. And we actually talked about that, I think, about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, or sometime.
Right.
What happens is you get fixated on the fact that that's your unit.
Right.
Now, I will let you know, when Tracy and I first started doing storage units, we probably did that a lot more than we do now. One of the things, though, that I do is, all right, let's say that we're bidding on units, and this has happened to us before, where there are 4 units, and we know the owner of all 4 of the units because we bought in one of their units before. These are our Tennessee units. And at one time, we were bidding on all 4 units at about $27,000. Now,
Scary.
at that time, that was super scary because we didn't have $27,000. We were going to take out a loan to pay for these storage units.
We were literally going to have to take a second mortgage if we went all for it.
Yeah, and the thing about it was, it would have been worth it.
It would have been worth it.
Because each one of those units was probably about $100,000 profit. So you're talking about $500,000, just under $500,000 profit for $30,000. Well, what I did when we were bidding, because Tracy and I, we do a lot of collabing when we do the storage units. Tracy tends to find them, and then she sets, like, we discuss, well, what do you think would be our cap on that unit? And a lot of times the cap goes out the window because Tracy either finds something else in the unit or I just get stubborn.
Right.
But in that case, we had the 4 units. So what I did was very strategically say, okay, we're going to drive up the price on all 4 units at the same time. And we had to keep doing that until we won the first one. When we won the first one, my plan was this. We're going to win the first unit because that's going to be the cheapest unit. And then we're going to try to get a second unit. I knew the second unit was going to go high, and I knew the last unit was going to go astronomically high because it's your last chance. So my goal was to win the first unit and the third unit, not the second unit, because if I won the second unit, I would not have gotten it at the price. It was going to go up, and it did. Okay. Yeah. The third unit ended up going up there also, but I was in on it. I was in on it up to the almost $12,000 mark. Okay. So it's very easy to get caught up in that groove. But if you do it strategically, you say what we did. We're going to snag the first one, and then we're going to try to snag the third one. Now, unfortunately, it got a little bit high, and the third unit also was a smaller unit. So we said, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and just let that one go. But we were dicks. We made the people pay for that unit. Okay, I knew that people were going to pay for that unit. I think we drove the price of that unit up to about the $1,400 mark. And the fourth unit, that thing almost went to $1,800. $18,000. Yeah, that's right. $18,000. And we knew what we were doing.
And yeah, that's definitely it. But let's talk about from a smaller perspective, like just buying a single unit that we don't really know the contents of. Have there been times that we have gotten stubborn?
Oh God, yeah. I'll sit there and I'll look at that unit and I say, okay, it's mine. It's mine. And what a lot of times, what you can bid to make that happen. There was one time that we were on an one unit, and so what Tracy and I do, we do a lot of strategery when we talk. We call it poking the beast. Like sometimes you don't want to start bidding on that unit early because it wakes people up and people might start to do stuff. You let people lull into a sense of security, and then you start doing that. So I'll bid in little $10 increments on most of the thing. And if I notice that they're rebidding me up really, really quick, after about the third time, I drop a hammer and I say, okay, instead of going in at $10 increments, I'll go to $100 increments, or even a $200 increments. And at this time, the limit is gone, okay, because we want the unit.
I will tell you, one time I specifically remember us doing this was actually the last unit we bought. We won the first one. There were 3. We won the first one. We pushed that second one. We're like, we're getting this one. And then we wound up we let the third one go, and thank God we did, because these units were so much work.
And the funny thing was, is because there were 3, I won the first one, and I said, okay, let's get the second one or the third one.
Yeah.
But we're going to get one of those other 2. So when the price started going up on the second one, and the guy was really stubborn about it, I mean, I would do exactly what I was saying. I would pop it up there $100, and then little increments, and then he would hit it and stuff. So I said, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to let him have it so I can grab that third one. I got the third one cheaper than he paid for the second one. So the first 2, and again, first unit, that was the cheapest one. Okay. So I got the 2 cheaper of the 2 units, and he got the expensive one. And that was just
looking
too
back,
much work.
those were units we should not have bought. We made money. We definitely profited on them, but I would never do those units again. They definitely taught us some lessons.
Well, hindsight being 2020, I don't want a hoarder unit.
No.
I mean, that's just the way that it is. They hoard everything.
Sometimes there's
food.
good stuff, but the bad stuff outweighs the good stuff.
You know, the ones that I was thinking about were the ones where we were bidding like only $100 or $200, but we had filler units in the process. So if I have a filler unit in the process, then yeah, I'm going to go ahead and
we win the filler unit, and then we're trying to get that other one. Like, oh no, we're getting the one that we're here for.
Yeah,
I think that happened with we call it like an action figure unit, the one where the guy actually came to the facility and freaked out a little bit, but we won the filler unit, and we're still bidding on that other one.
Yeah, and the filler unit actually ended up being better than the unit we were bidding on.
I believe we profited more.
Yeah, I think so too, because that one had a bunch of brand new
Bath and Body Works
candles.
And some high-end...
oh my gosh, yeah.
Some high-end Christmas lighting stuff, because they did like professional Christmas lighting.
You know how they have those the ones that go to the music, and they have all of the different lights, and they have the Christmas music, and people park out in front of their house to see it. This company did it. And so we got a bunch of that.
One of those units that it wasn't flashy because, we were selling candles and Christmas lighting equipment, but we made a more profit on that than we did with the new in-box action figures and things like that. Yeah,
and that one, we definitely paid up for that one because we needed it. We needed it at that time. But we try not to marry our units. But there comes to a point where it's like, hey, I want the unit.
Yep.
Okay, and if I want the unit, especially if I hear this from her.
I've got a feeling.
If she says I have a feeling, I'm getting the unit.
There's been a few, and they have all paid off. I did not have a feeling on this last units, but I just liked them, but God.
The thing about those units is we weren't expecting as much work as we had to put into the units. The good thing about that facility and those units was that I was able to rent the units out for like $60 a month. If I would have had to pay $100 and some a month, we were way into a loss then at that time.
Let me tell you, we had some hot weather in February. that threw me for a loop. It's like February 17th, and it's 80 degrees. Yay.
Yeah. Just like when you get into, if you sell on Whatnot, okay, or you sell on anything that's an auction typed business, you get what I call into a feeding frenzy, where you have multiple people on it that want an item, and then all of a sudden that item goes way over retail, way over what you can get it in a store or on eBay or whatever it may be. That ends up happening. That's because you have that mentality of well, somebody else wants it, so that means it has to have some value.
I want to say there's one thing that I feel is more likely to cause that on Whatnot than in auctions, is that there's a person behind the name. On Whatnot, you know who Philly Flipper is who might be bidding. You know who Cajun Queen is who's bidding. You've interacted with these people. So maybe you're a little bit more competitive with them than when you're on most of these storage auction bidding sites where you're bidding against bidder 18.
Yeah, now there is one site that we do know who the bidders are.
Because they have usernames.
And I have driven them up too.
I'll tell you, this is my little secret. This is Locker Fox. You get to create a username. I created a username that I feel is very low key. It's some letters and numbers, so people don't remember it as much. As sometimes there's people like, I will bid and win. That's like their name. It's like, no, you're not. I'm gonna kick your butt. So
or you're gonna bid and win at a higher price than what you're thinking.
So if you are on Locker Fox, I highly recommend make your username very innocuous and don't match it to your social media, because you don't want to give people that little extra ammunition. If you do live auctions, that's another thing. You have that. You see the people around you, and you're like, I'm not letting him win. I don't know where we're going, but let's go.
This is going to be a lovely one, okay? We were at a live auction in Dallas at Alpha and Omega, okay? They do one.
I know which one we're going, yeah.
We see this unit that opens up, and Tracy and I immediately see camo stuff, and we go, okay, I want the camo stuff. Yeah. Everybody else sees these boxes of Nike shoes. I know that 9 times out of the time, when you're looking at boxes that have Nike shoes in them, they are not new shoes. They got paperwork, or they got used shoes in them, or they got toys or Matchbox cars, whatever it may be. So I'm bidding on this unit, and it's at like $120. And I say, oh, I'll do 130. So I do 130. And this one guy from behind me, an old guy, goes, 360. And I start laughing, right? I start laughing because I'm like, you're out of your damn mind. Even if those shoes are in there and they're brand new and they're authentic, you're still only talking about maybe $400 total in profit. And the unit didn't have hardly anything in it, okay? Well, obviously he wins the unit because nobody was going to pay.
He jumped the bid.
He jumped the bid way, way too much, okay? And I was going to be like, okay, it's yours, whatever, all right? He goes in there, right? And it's full of paperwork.
All the boxes
were paperwork.
And he's one that he definitely makes his presence known at the live auctions, and he's a little bit of a jerk. And
so do I.
So does Brian.
So
he just did not want Brian to have that unit because he thought those shoes were going to be there. He thought we're bidding on the shoes. We're not bidding on the shoes. We're bidding on the camo.
I wanted the camo.
Because we know we can move that. But
that was funny. That stuff will go. But it does happen. It's a human nature thing. We try not to marry our units, and we talk about it. We talked about it, I think, last week or the week before, that there's always going to be another unit.
That's one thing I like to do when I'm looking at units, is if I can find several in the same day and then I have that backup. It's like, well, I'd like to get this one, but if we don't look, there's a different one at 3 p.m. that looks good too. And then that helps keep that less likely to happen.
Another thing that we also try to do too is we look for units that end later in the day, because everybody's blown through their money on the units that are ending at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. We look for those units that are starting at, well, of course, we're going to look at any of the units and stuff, but we're going to key in on the ones that end up at the end.
Around us, another thing along the same lines, around us, auctions tend to be on Monday through Friday. Occasionally you'll find one on Saturday. Those are much, much rarer. Most of them are Monday through Friday. There's more units on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday than the others. But if I can find a unit on Friday, it's usually going to go lower than the ones earlier in the week, because number one, the flea market guys are at the flea market. They're not bidding on units. And number two, people, they've hit their limit. They need to sell their stuff. A lot of storage unit buyers are flea market sellers or yard sale sellers. Obviously, there are others like us that sell primarily online.
And a lot of them have a budget that, I mean, maybe $1,000 or $2,000.
Right.
There's very few that have that budget of $10,000, $20,000. We don't even have that budget of $10,000, $20,000. Our budget at our max was probably $5,000.
Right.
Even though we bought in units higher than that, we ended up dipping into our savings to get those because we knew what was in the units.
But anyway, we hope to be buying some storage units in July. That's our goal. We've been working towards getting the space and the sourcing budget replenished for that. So cross your fingers, you'll be seeing
Yep,
some storage unit
I am
videos
busting
here.
through. I'm busting through some back stock that we have right here.
behind us.
Yep, all of that right back in there. That's going up today at 4 o'clock. So if you're watching this, if Tracy releases it before 4 o'clock,
I might try.
come on over to Whatnot, 4 o'clock.
Jack's
Treasures. All of this is $1 starts plus consoles. I'm starting consoles off at $1 starts. Got it NES, PlayStation 3s, PlayStation 2s, PlayStation 1s. I got it all. Starting off at $1 starts, okay? So, if you like what, and by the way, this is just our opinions,
As
okay?
always.
As always, this is just our opinion. So if you agree with us, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. If you disagree with us, give us a thumbs down. Leave a comment down below. Like, share, and subscribe. Please help us out with Stop Soldier Suicide. I think on Saturday, how much did we donate?
$125. We had $100 in tips in a show, and then I added an extra $25 because I'm so moved by our audience donating
Yeah,
that much.
we were doing a battle of the cookie jar shows on Whatnot, and I at the end of the show decided to say, you know, I'm a veteran, and if you guys don't know, lots of veterans are struggling when they get out of the military, and
It's a big problem.
it is a huge problem. 20 soldiers per day on average are committing suicide. Not dying, guys. They're committing suicide. So help us out with Stop Soldier Suicide. That is a link there
Always a
down
link at the
below.
bottom.
We're always going to do that down there. We're coming up on the 4th of July, which is a great day. It's a day that we celebrate our independence, and it was because of soldiers that won and fought for our freedoms, and some of them gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. It's a day that we remember those, like Memorial Day. And also, Veterans Day is coming, where we'll be doing a Veterans Day raid train, where everything we sell and our part of the raid train will be going to Stop Soldier Suicide.
Yes.
Okay? So, like, share, and subscribe. And as always, don't go a day without
Petting a cat.
peace out from Jack's Treasures.
Bye.
Bye.